Good morning. I'll call the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority July 11th meeting to order. Items from the chairman is to elect the chairperson and vice chairman for the trust for the fiscal year of 2026. So we'll do these separately. In the election of the chairperson,
I would like to nominate Barney Sentner as chairperson for fiscal year 26.
okay, it's been moved, and there's a second. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Okay. The election of the vice chairman.
I'd like to nominate Jason Fairbrush as the vice chairperson.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Okay. Congratulations, Jason. Are there any residents to be heard? Okay. The approval of the minutes is the next item. The minutes of the May 8th special meeting of the COPTA Transportation Committee. Is there a motion to approve these minutes? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Is it not working? Okay. Bailey votes yes. So motion passes. The second item is the minutes of the May 22nd special meeting of the COPTA Finance Committee. Is there a motion to approve these minutes? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. The third item is minutes from the June 16th special meeting of the COPTA Trust. Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. The motion passes. Okay, on our consent docket, are there any items that the trustees would like to consider individually? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent docket? We'll try it again. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Moving on to items for individual consideration. Item A is to approve renewal number 1 and amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement with the Oklahoma Railway Museum for management and operations of the historic railroad equipment and mowing services. Estimated annual cost of $39,942, retroactive to July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So this is a long-standing agreement that we've had in place with Oklahoma Railway Company. We've had a long partnership with them. For those who don't know, they operate historic equipment over near 63rd and I-35. Have a great museum there. If you haven't been, we can certainly coordinate an opportunity to go see that railway museum. But for this agreement specifically, just a little background there. So back in 2020, we amended and restated the agreement to include mowing services. So there is a right-of-way that we own, and they help maintain that right-of-way. And so we amended that agreement to include the mowing services of that right-of-way. And so this agreement continues that agreement to allow them to operate the equipment in the right-of-way, and then help maintain that right-of-way.
Yes, as more historical context, the mowing was a big nuisance, and we had a veritable jungle along that right-of-way for a long time, and to get somebody to mow it. So the Railway Museum people have done a great job.
Yeah, they really have.
Since we partnered with them.
Yep.
Is there a motion to approve item A? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item B is to approve change order number 3 with Manhattan Road and Bridge Incorporated for the First American Museum Riverboat Landing at a cost increase of $49,381.29.
Yeah, so work continues on the First Americans Museum landing. So specifically with this change order, this is change order number 3. So some of the things that have occurred, so as we're doing the grading on the site, you know, if you think about it, whenever you're doing grading, sometimes you have to feather the dirt work out. And so what has happened, we've actually went outside of our scope of boundary a little bit. And so with that, we are adding some additional, it's called core mat, and it's essentially like sodding. It's the new version of sodding. And so because we went outside of our scope of work, we're adding this core mat and seating to really hold in the landscaping around there. With this change order, we're also adding 2 additional lights in the stairs, and then we've added some camera equipment at the landing, and this change order also accounts for the additional cabling for that camera equipment. So the total increase for change order number 3 is just under $50,000. The total change order amendments so far through change order 1 through 3 totals $177,426. That's a total of about a 2.59% increase over the original contract amount. So we're still within or under our 10% max for change orders. Still looking really good. We're anticipating the landing being complete later this summer, early fall, probably around September or August. And then we'll have a nice ribbon cutting, and looking forward to that.
Okay, are there any questions or comments about this item? If not, is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item C is to approve a professional service agreement with Oklahoma City Family Justice Center, DBA Palomar, for mobility management access services, estimated revenue of $60,000, retroactive to July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Yeah, so we have had a partnership with Palomar now for about 5 years. And just a reminder, what the services that they provide. So they provide resources for folks that are experiencing domestic abuse or human trafficking, and we're continuing to see growth with Palomar. And so they have reached out to us and they've asked us to continue that service. You'll notice that this is an increase over previous years with Palomar. We're starting to see more and more usage of our services there. And with the growth with MAPS 4, we anticipate that this service will continue to grow. But we really appreciate the services that Palomar provides, and we're happy to be able to help support that service.
Okay, are there any questions or comments about this item? If not, is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item D is to approve a professional services agreement with Gabriel Roeder Smith and Company to provide actuarial services, estimated annual cost of $20,000, July 11th, 2025 through July 10th, 2030.
Yep. So this is support for our pension plan. So if you remember back in April, we issued a request for proposals for actuarial services. And so what that really does is anytime we look at the possibility of making any changes as far as like contributions or anything like that when it comes to our pension services, we want to have folks on hand that are familiar with how to judge that risk before we make any types of changes. And so with this contract with the Gabriel Roeder and Smith, they provide that actuarial services where they can look at the statistics, look at future trends and things like that that would have impact to the pension plan, and be able to provide recommendations as far as how to move forward.
Okay, are there any questions or comments on this item? If not, is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item E has two parts, and we're going to scratch the second part because the resolution, the authority is already there. So we're taking item 2 out of E and scratching it. And so item 2.1 is to approve a professional services agreement with Oklahoma City Employee Retirement System for administration of Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority's 457 and 401 deferred compensation plan, not to exceed the amount of $14,600 retroactive to July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Yeah, so a little background there. So we, as a board, have approved that deferred compensation plan. This really gives COPTA employees just another option when it comes to retirement. And so with this agreement, it's an agreement with the Oklahoma City Employee Retirement System. It allows us to, allows them to recoup the costs associated with processing claims, processing applications, and be able to continue that service for the deferred compensation plan for COPTA employees.
Any questions or comments about this item? If not, is there a motion to approve item E1? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item F is to approve a professional services agreement with Community Action Agency of Oklahoma City and Oklahoma Canadian Counties Incorporated, Uber Technologies Incorporated, a Delaware corporation, and De Novo Management Group LLC as mobility service providers for various grant-funded mobility programs, estimated at annual cost of $1,168,000 retroactive to July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, and to adopt a resolution authorizing the open market authority for the purchase of transportation services for senior mobility management and human services, estimated annual cost of $150,000 retroactive to July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Would you like a drink of water after reading that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty standard. We usually have an item like this every single year. What you will notice is there are some new names and some names that you may have recognized in the past that aren't on this agreement. And so as we do, you know, these companies are providing that supplementary service anytime that we're not able to completely meet that need. And so what we do as an agency, we want to make sure that anybody that is working under essentially our name in a roundabout way, we want to make sure that they are providing that world-class service. And so we often audit the companies that provide these services. And what we've started to see is there are companies out there that were providing services that didn't meet our world-class expectations. And so that's why you're seeing some new names and some names that originally were on here that aren't on here anymore. But we're looking forward to utilizing these new companies and providing that service. And there's an entire packet in here that outlines very detailed the services that they'll be providing.
Okay, any questions or comments on this item? If not, is there a motion to approve item F? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically.
Yeah.
Oh.
Waiting, I say yes.
Okay, Brent and Bailey both say yes. My screen still says waiting, I'm sorry. It's decided to be slow this morning. Motion passes. Okay, thank you. Item G is the approval of a professional services agreement with Gunner Training LLC and Gimmel Professional Services to provide human resource consultant services, estimated annual cost of $75,000 from July 11th, 2025 through July 10th, 2028.
Yeah, so again, a reminder, so the RFP or request for proposals for this item went out back in April. And really what this looks to do is these folks can come in and help provide leadership training, really for anywhere from our executive team all the way down to our middle management. And so we're seeing the need for that more and more every single day. And so we actually went out for proposals back in April. We received over 20 proposals. So that was nice to see the interest in that. And we are recommending moving forward with Gunter Training and Gimel Professional Services. We've used Gunter in the past and have really, really enjoyed the services that we've received from Gunter. So looking forward to being able to provide these services to staff.
Any questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve item G? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically.
I'm unable to vote. Mine's still locked up from the previous item. So yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item H is to approve amendment number 3 and restated audit contract with Allen Gibbs and Holick LC for auditing services for the Central Oklahoma Transportation and Parking Authority's fiscal year 2025 financial statements at an estimated cost of $71,245.
Yeah, so Allen Gibbs and Halleck LC Auditing Services, so they provide auditing services for many departments within the city. We've worked with them before in the past, and they really take a deep dive into all of our financials. They go as far as reviewing receipts, right, to make sure that everything is above board. And so this really gives us an opportunity to have that third party that looks at our financials and keeps everything exactly how it needs to be. So we're really looking forward to continuing that relationship with AGH.
Okay. Any questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item 7 on our agenda is ratification of claims and payroll for the period of May 21st through June 17th. Are there any questions or comments about the payroll and claims, vendor claims? If not, is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Item 8 is to receive our financial reports. This is the schedule of revenue and expenditures budget to actual for the month ending May 31st, 2025.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy week after 4th of July to everybody. It was nice to have the break to enjoy the time with family, I'm sure. Well, I've got a 11-month presentation for you, so get ready. We're going to cover 11 months of data. Are you excited? I see all the smiles. That's good. That's a positive review there. No, I will keep this brief, of course. So we're nearing the end of our fiscal year 25. Of course, we're currently in our fiscal year 26, as of July 1, but these reports are always looking at closures of financial statements. So we're looking at the month of May right now. Next month, we'll be reporting on the very year-end report for the year. And then, of course, it'll be September before we start looking at the current fiscal year information. So as usual, this is all in your packet, but I do have some slides for you to help you follow along with the presentation. So just in summary, the transportation operations, which is page 2 of your report, overall, our revenues exceed expenditures by $691,000. Our year-to-date revenues are $42,798,000, which is just below budget by 1%, so real close there with our revenues. And our year-to-date expenditures are $42,000,000, under budget by $2.3 million, or a 5% variance. So some of the specific items I'll highlight for you today, fare box and fare media sales, as I have done throughout the year, really just kind of group those together. We have our fare boxes that, of course, we receive revenue through, but a lot of our revenue also comes through passes bought in token transit, passes bought at the transit center. So that's what fare media sales includes, is basically anything that's not at the fare box itself. So I'll highlight for you, combining those two things. You can see our fare box revenue is below budget. We've got a negative variance of $351,000, but then our fare media sales, the line below it, is we have a positive variance of $166,000. So if we look at that in a combined format, our year-to-date budget is $1.9 million, and our year-to-date actuals are $1.7 million. So collectively, we're about 10% below our forecasted budget for our overall fare media. We are right on par with where we were last year this time, so no growth there, but no real decline there either if you combine those together, pretty close, matching prior year. Then if you go down to miscellaneous, you'll notice that our budget's $533,000, our actuals are close to $600,000, with a positive variance of $310,000, or 210%. So I thought I'd just walk you through that one. So I should remind you that this report does have our amended budget in it. So last month, the board approved a budget amendment for our FY25, and that impacted our transportation revenues. So the miscellaneous budget did get increased with that budget amendment. The revised budget year to date has not yet increased because we have just of a timing issue. So overall, in the miscellaneous line, we will end the year about 10% ahead of budget, our miscellaneous line item. So right now it's sitting at $210,000. That will be next month be dropped down to about 10% over budget. So, and really that is attributed to our CNG tax credit, which is one of the revenue sources that's in this line. We budgeted a certain amount. You never know what you're going to get back on the tax credit, and so we got a little bit more than we had expected. So that's really where we came ahead of budget on our miscellaneous line item. And then finally, I'll highlight the state government subsidy. So we've budgeted $1.9 million. You'll notice that we are below where our target was by $600,000 roughly. But we did receive the third and final payment in June, so next month's report will have that on there. And so we're actually about $60,000 ahead of budget on our state subsidies, so we're in good shape there.
Yeah, on the miscellaneous, I mean, you've brought in almost 600,000, but your budget was only 300,000 roughly for now. So you're anticipating getting another 300,000 in June?
Well, so the budget year to date really didn't get updated once that amendment took effect, because the amendment was approved in June. So this just reflects where we thought we'd be in May before that amendment.
Okay.
So it's just lagging
So
from the projection
that number's understated
Yeah,
from
the
a
projection
budgetary
is-
standpoint? Okay.
The projection is understated.
Okay. Okay.
But looking at our actuals, which we have June data now, we are, even from the actual standpoint, just about 10% ahead of budget.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'll move over to our expense side for transportation operations. And again, with our FY25 budget amendment that was approved, you'll see really we've got good numbers on this report. So our personnel expenses, throughout the year, we've had a negative variance, but with our amendment, we're really right on budget. You'll see it's 100.2%, so we're just 0.2% over our budget. So basically right on point there. All the other line items you'll see, we've got quite a bit of savings. So overall, we are below budget on our expenses by about 5%. 11 months into the year, that's definitely a good place to be. So I'm grateful for that and thankful for the staff really just working hard to be conservative with the expenses. We've had some savings in different areas, just trying to make sure we're conservative in this budget climate. So great job there. Moving over to parking operations, which is page 4. So the summary for parking operations, revenues have exceeded expenditures by about $1.2 million. Our year-to-date revenues are $6.2 million, which exceeds our budget by $406,000 or 7%. And our year-to-date expenditures are just below $5 million and meeting budget pretty much right on. So parking operations revenue, so the monthly contracts I would just highlight for you were about 7.5% ahead of budget for monthly contracts. Just a reminder with this, we were pretty conservative with our budget. We budgeted a 2% increase from FY24, and so with that, we're just performing ahead of where we thought we'd be with our monthly contracts. And if you look at even prior year, we're ahead by $169,000. So monthly contracts is performing well with parking. The events and transient parking line item below, so we were, our overall budget's 3.1 million. We thought we'd be at 2.9 at this point in time, and we're just a little bit ahead of that at 3 million, so about 3% ahead of where we thought we would be this point in time of the year. I would point out too that we, of course, have been in playoffs, and then, of course, then the championship and the finals. So that revenue from the Thunder season ticket holders, where they park in our garages, that is a secondary invoice that goes out once those playoffs are all finalized. So we're looking for about another $250,000 that will be added to the event parking line item. So that's just not reflected yet until all that kind of gets buttoned up. But so that number there does not yet include the playoff revenue.
So that'll more than likely be received in fiscal year '26.
Correct.
Right,
And
and
so,
since these are not GAAP-based, these are cash basis, we'll see a better number in '26 then. Which I'm
Yes.
happy. I mean, that's good.
Yes. So I don't know that I could definitively answer whether it's going to be recorded in 25 or 26 because of the accounting system. It used to be strictly cash basis. Now we see a mixture of cash and accrual accounting with our report. And so with that, I'm not sure if it will be recorded in June. It won't be received in June, of course, because we haven't received it yet. So that would be something I'm not quite sure about in terms of kind of the new system and how they're accounting for things. So, so with that, we're about 3% ahead of budget on events and transient parking. We had 36 events in May. A couple of the main ones, of course, Thunder was a big one, and then we had two other major events that contributed to high numbers in our parking garages were the GalaxyCon show and Artini. I had to look up what GalaxyCon was. I wasn't quite sure. Disappointing. I can see that. I know. I'm just. Hey, I did learn though.
I'll just say that last year they asked someone from council to show up at their ribbon cutting. I did not know, like you, who they were, but they're like a sci-fi convention, and they had vendors, and some of the Star Trek actors were here, like the guy who plays Spock, not Spock, Data. He was here. I hadn't watched Star Trek Next Gen at the time. I'm on season 3 now. But anyway, I just mention it because I got to cut the ribbon with a sword. The ribbon cutting. I wouldn't interrupt a COPPA meeting for GalaxyCon for nothing. I'm telling you, it was a sword. There's video, and now you know. So we'll see you there next year.
Yes,
All of you.
I'm definitely intrigued, and I'm glad I gave the opportunity for that great tidbit. Thank you. I'd love to see the ribbon cutting with a sword. Sounds pretty fascinating. All right, so we'll move over to our expenses for parking. So really the one I have to highlight for you is the parking garage operations. So you'll see in your packet, the expense statement, there's a note, a footnote that explains there's some unrecorded expenses for May. So I just wanted to kind of walk you through this. So Trustee Bryant, you had mentioned, we just talked through around recording and the timing and accruals versus cash basis. In the past, the PCI invoices were recorded as basically we're always in arrears. That's changing now where there's like some backdating of some of that revenue. So now what we're looking at is our budget year to date where we had anticipated in that old system has 10 months of expenses in it, but in our new kind of system of recording revenues, or excuse me, expenses, there's 11 months of expenses. So with 10 months budgeted, but 11 months actual, that's going to give you that negative variance of about $242,000. And then if you add in the unrecorded expenses, that does put us ending the year over budget, just looking at June and what's come through with June. The explanation for that, though, is really just tied to what I just explained in our event revenue. Whenever you have extra events, PCI has to staff those events, that's overtime, and of course that drives our expenses up, but of course we're capturing it on the revenue side as well. So those really do balance each other out from that respect. Overall, the other line items are all ahead of, or excuse me, there's savings in all the other line items, so I won't go through those, but you'll see that basically we're right on point with our expenses in parking. I'll hit the highlights for river cruises. So our revenues exceed expenditures just under $65,000. Our year-to-date revenues are $892,000, under budget by $11,768. So just a percent there. Our year-to-date expenditures are $827,838, under budget by $24,000 or 3%. So pretty much right on point on our river cruises revenues and expenditures. And then finally, page 7, streetcar operations, our revenues exceed expenditures by $742,000. Our year-to-date revenues meet budget at 6.8, and our year-to-date expenditures are just a little over 6 million, and they're under budget by 633,000, so 9% under budget on the expense side. So on the revenue for streetcar, I'll highlight other revenue just as a reminder of what is in that line item. That is a new revenue line item for streetcar, because we have had some business development revenue coming through, which is something new for Embark, which we're really excited about that. Largely what that includes is the relationship partnership that we made with Thunder to have shuttles from our parking garage at Sheridan Walker to the arena, and so that did bump our revenues up from that standpoint. And then, of course, there was our BRT shuttle as well, so that's in a different expense report, but the streetcar in particular, that's business development revenue in that line item. So overall, that really helped kind of offset the streetcar fares being under budget, and so our revenues are just sitting 0.2% below budget, so we're really just in good shape on our revenues of streetcar. I would point out, I don't have it highlighted, but the advertising revenue being negative, that's really just an invoice timing issue, so our advertising revenue, we expect to receive all $150,000. And then finally, on the streetcar expense side, so streetcar operations, that is, just as a reminder, that's our Herzog contract. So all the contract fees are in that line item. Our last day with Herzog was May 31st, so June 1, we assumed operations. So I understand that we have basically received all those invoices from Herzog. There might be a few bits and pieces trickling through, but that large management fee that we've received month after month, that no longer will occur. And so next month's statement, when we look at June, we won't have that large fee in that line item. So pretty much if you look at the footnote, there's some unrecorded expenses for Herzog. If you plug that in, that variance of a positive variance, a savings of 517, basically it's washed away. It's a neutral. We're right on budget with our Herzog expenses once we finish the year out. And then down in the supplies, we've got some savings there. You'll notice that we're under budget, $292,000 or 40%. We do have some supply expenses that are coming through, so that number is going to go up a little bit, but still we do expect to end the year under budget in the supply line for streetcar. And then finally, payments to the city transportation fund. Just a reminder, this is where chargebacks for IT services, admin services, as well as city employees get paid out of this fund. You'll notice that we have quite an overage there of $174,000 overage, 226%, so I just thought I'd explain that to you. There's no concern that we're going to be going over budget in this line overall. This is just a timing issue, again, with recording expenses and what month they go in. So looking at the year end, we expect to finish the year on budget in this line item. So those are my comments for our financial statement for May. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions or comments about our financial? If
thank you.
not, thank you. And Suzanne?
Yes.
I understand you've been poached. Is that rumor correct?
You want me to?
Yeah, so,
Excuse me.
so one of the other hats I
Maybe
wear.
that's not the right
That's
word.
okay. Yeah, yeah. Let's say borrowing some expertise for a short-term assignment. So anyway, as I think most know, I also serve as the interim executive director of the RTA, Regional Transportation Authority of Central Oklahoma. And as that work continues to progress and we're getting closer and closer to hopefully a ballot initiative, I've asked Suzanne to support some of the RTA efforts, and she's thankfully agreed to do that. So for about the next 12 months, I think working with Jesse, I asked Suzanne, see if she was willing, then checked with the director. He's supportive as well. And so for about the next 12 months, I think most of her efforts will be focused on helping with RTA. So
we appreciate what you've done for us in the past and look forward to you coming back then.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you all sitting there listening month after month to the riveting financial statements. I know it's a lot to just listen to a bunch of numbers and such, but I hopefully painted a clear picture of our financial status. I certainly always want to be forthright if we have concerns, and also forthright when things are going well. So I really appreciate all your attention and your questions that keep me sharp. And so next month you'll be hearing from the great Christina Hankins, our finance manager for Embark. So she'll do a great job, and so looking forward to that and getting to see her step into that
Okay.
presentation. So
Great,
thank you very
thank
much.
you. Okay, is there a motion to receive our financial report? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Oh. Okay, do we have 2 votes to register? Bailey and Jason? Yes, both vote yes. Motion passes. Moving on down into our program reports, we have a presentation of Mobility Management Services by Marilyn.
Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? I'm really glad to be with you. I do want to mention that the ridership numbers you'll see on the slide are through the end of May. I want to kind of give a shout out to the mobility team because they worked very, very hard to finish up June's ridership so I could give you some updates but beyond what's on your screen. So here we go. So with our senior services, as a reminder, this is our Older Americans Act funding. We partner with the Department of Human Services, Aging Services Division, as well as the Area-Wide Aging Agency. There's a whole suite of programs for seniors 60 and over. We have the grants for Oklahoma and Canadian County residents. We offer weekly grocery shopping, daily meal sites, medical trips, adult day services. Those are things like the Daily Living Center. People will often take their relatives there so they can continue to work, and then they'll take them home in the evening. And then, of course, we do the nutrition and vital access. It occurred to me as I was sitting back there on the bench looking through my slides that I don't know that I've ever actually told you guys what I mean by vital access. So I thought I'd take a couple seconds on that one. It's just a really small part of what we do, but it's also a really big part of what we do. And by vital access, we mean seniors wanting to go vote. I need to go pick up my dentures. That's not covered under most medical transportation programs. I need to go get fitted for new glasses. I need to go to the Social Security office. I'm the victim of a white-collar crime in the city of Oklahoma City, and I need to go talk to my attorney, or I need to go meet with the police detective about my case. That's what we mean by vital access. These are things that are important to manage your day-to-day life, but that often are not covered by other transportation programs, so that we're always looking for ways to fill those tiny little gaps for our seniors that no longer drive. So these are, again, are the numbers through May 2025. We will end the year well over 60,000 trips by the end of June. Now, our community development programs, these are funded in part by COPPA, as well as the planning department through their community development block grant programs. We've been partnering with them for a number of years. They are focused on homeless and low-income individuals. Through May, we had done 50,000 bus passes. June was a banner month because the additional funding that you provided us for bus passes to meet the need, almost all of those bus passes were picked up in June. So we are, again, over 60,000 in bus passes. We are also looking at updating our share fare program. I don't know if you guys have noticed over the last several years, we changed that program several years ago when we lost our provider. Just being really honest and transparent, the new version of the program, while still helpful, is not as affordable for the seniors, and so we've seen ridership drop considerably because it's just simply not affordable to them. All of them are on a fixed income, and the subsidy that we had in the original program was not sufficient. So we are working with Jesse and some of our internal partners to look at updating that share fare program to make it more attractive and helpful to the seniors. As soon as we get kind of some ideas and that plan worked out, we'll be bringing it back to you guys to talk through it. We've also done 209 emergency taxi trips. What that means is that obviously, even though Embark has a large service span and many nights we go till to midnight on some of our routes, we don't go all night long. Things still happen all night long. Our friends at Palomar and some of the other domestic violence shelters utilize the emergency taxi service for after-hours evacuations for domestic violence victims that need to get out of a situation right then and that can't wait till we open at 7 a.m. the next day. So that's what those trips are for. So if I'll remind you, we have some professional services agreement with Remerge Hope House, OKC, and the Palomar Family Justice Center, which you approved a few minutes ago, Palomar's contract. Both Hope House and Remerge work with diversion programs with single mothers with children, helping them to reestablish themselves in the community. We provide round-trip transportation to all of their participants. So you can see in May, we did 10,000 trips. Jesse mentioned when you were considering my Palomar contract item that services are increasing. We're going to end the year at 12,000 trips. So we're hitting an average of over 2,000 trips a month in these programs, and they continue to grow. And this is our wonderful baby, our Climb Ride program. We're so very proud of this and the group of 3 mobility program coordinators that run this program. We have 2 sides of this. We have the Child Welfare Program, which is under contract with the Department of Human Services, serving Oklahoma families, as well as the Transition Age Youth Program. We work with Pivot there. The mobility coordinator is embedded with Pivot. We just started this. This is a grant project funded in partnership with the Oklahoma Mobility Institute and the Arnall Family Foundation. We are at full launch now. We're serving all of the youth, 18 to 24, that live in the Pivot's tiny home community. I cannot tell you how impactful this has been on the youth. We are seeing them going from, I have a job at a fast food restaurant, to, I got a job at Paycom because I have transportation now, I can get there. I got a job at Amazon because I can now get there. They're actually getting jobs with benefits, jobs that pay a living wage, jobs that mean that they are going to be able to get out of that tiny home and actually be stable on their own. You can see we're doing quite a few trips. We're going to end child welfare, over 6,000 trips, and transition age youth will end up with about 3,000 trips with the June ridership included. Our Embark Well Senior Health and Wellness Program is doing really well. We were a little over 5,900 trips by the end of May. We're at 6,500 by the end of June. It's a hugely popular program with the seniors. I don't want to go into whole big detail, but we have hit budget on this program, but that's okay because we have a plan to fix that. We have received permission from Jesse to fund braid the local money that we put into this program with Section 5310 funding for seniors and individuals with disability. It's called an operating assistance grant. It will enable us to double the budget for this program next year so that, as you can see, that ridership is just rocketing up every year. And so we wanted to position ourselves for 2026 to be able to meet the need that we knew was coming. And if any of you want to learn more about fund braiding, it's very complicated, but I'm happy to meet with you. I'm certainly not going to talk about it right now because we would be here 2 hours later. Our 5310 funding stream, again, this is what we're going to use to fund braid and provide additional budgets for our Embark Well program. We assumed this back on October 1st, 2024. We've been actively working with Federal Transit Administration and the Oklahoma Department of Transportation to transition this over to Embark. We are now the direct recipient of about $1.2 million a year in apportionment funds for seniors and individuals with disabilities. We have gone through 2 application cycles with our nonprofit partners across the community. For the federal fiscal year 2022 money, we will be spending about $1 million on new vehicles for 5 agencies. Using the federal fiscal year 2023 money, we're providing additional vehicles for agencies. We also have 2 agencies putting software in their vehicles to support our coordinated network. If you'll recall, we received that ICAM grant for software back in FY21. We have done the first phase of implementation on that. These projects will allow those agencies to participate in an artificially intelligent software managed coordinated network. Before this, everything we did was on a paper and a pencil and a spreadsheet. This is a game changer for some of these agencies. Other projects that are coming along with the federal fiscal year 2023 money include some preventative maintenance projects. This is an eligible expense under this grant. This is our effort to help these nonprofits manage the expense of maintaining their vehicle. And then we also have additional, besides our Embark Well Operating Assistance Project, there are other people that are requesting operating assistance. And as a reminder, this funding also supports the statewide mobility management program. Embark has one mobility navigator working in Oklahoma County right now through that program. In federal fiscal year 2023's money, our goal is to add a position like that for Canadian County and Cleveland County as well. That will cover all 77 counties in the state with a mobility navigator to assist residents in connecting to resources. So we're really thrilled to see how that program is growing and changing. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Wonderful. Are there any questions or comments for Marilyn? If not, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Okay, the next item is a presentation on the Safety, Security, and Training Report. Eugene?
Good morning, everybody. Is everybody ready for some safety updates?
Definitely ready.
All right. So first off, we did streetcar onboard training. So we welcomed in 30 new employees from the previous contractor over. Laura Miller, our human resources hiring manager, did a great job in seamlessly transitioning them over. Typically, our 1-2 punches, Laura hires them, and Byron and Tavis train them. So with this many people, we had the entire safety team there. So it was Byron, Tavis, Jimmy, and Teresa all helping out, training all the employees. So we trained them on over 100 SOPs and plans. Same with the streetcar. So the streetcar shut down for about a week due to the Prairie Surf demolition. So in that time, we took the opportunity to train the streetcar operators and the maintenance employees on streetcar towing. So you can see here, so in case you didn't know, there's a secret compartment where these tow bars are on the streetcars. And so the maintenance team got practice coupling the streetcars and then the operators. So the streetcars, you can either push them or pull them. So we did it on the lead track, which is between where the yard is, the SMF, and Oklahoma City Boulevard. So we just did it right there, pushing and pulling the streetcars. So they got that practice, got to see what that feel was like. Track access training. So this is something our previous contractor did, so that we're taking over now since we're in-house with it. So Molly Rainey is officed over there now, and she's, until we get our rail safety specialist in, so she trained over 120 contractors in track access training. So the image on the right there, it's called the envelope of the streetcar alignment. So anywhere within, if there's a contractor working within 10 feet of the streetcar, they need to go through this track access training just to make them aware of the hazards working with the high-powered line there, the over OCS.
Eugene is, well, I need to get my card replaced.
Will you be working on in the
Well,
envelope?
I just want to keep my card, so.
Okay, so temporary transit center. So this is something we wanted to do for a long time, and since the championship parade happened, we actually got to do it. So we learned a lot. So we moved the transit center from where it is currently over to the state fairground. So it was definitely a learning opportunity, a learning experience for us. And we are looking forward to next year's championship parade so we could do this again.
Oh, yes, we will.
Okay, MHH, or MHA, so this is our Mental Health Association. So these, the rest of the slides here are about what they have done over the last year. So Andrea is our case manager, who's associated with the Mental Health Association. You know, we have a contract with them. So they have done 123 contacts where they did internal references within internal of Mental Health Association. So they also do external referrals. So they've done 91 of those. And then you can see there the list of all the referrals that all the locations that they refer them to. And then miscellaneous referrals. So this could be anything from providing snacks, water, shoes, if we needed to get security involved. Continuum, the first one there is continuum of care assessments that they've completed. So there are 802 of those. Transportation, so we do provide transportation. So they give out day passes, Embark day passes, where we transport them to some of those places before. And then the mental health does some transporting as well, as long as MO, our mobile outreach engagement. And then shelter referrals. So these are the 170 shelter referrals that they have done throughout the past year to all those locations there. And then finally, these are about the top 10 locations where they've made contacts at. So most of the work is at the transit center, where she's working out of the most. But you can see there, she rides the BRT, she rides the streetcar, and she rides all the other, the routes at different times and makes different contacts throughout. So Andrea is doing a great job. I believe that's it. Any questions?
Are there any questions or
Eugene,
comments?
do you mind sharing the story with our mental health association worker and Jimmy during the recent winter weather event?
Oh, yeah. So there was a patron that was at one of the bus stops, and it was really bad weather. Jimmy Friend, who is our liaison with the Mental Health Association, worked with Andrea, worked with the Mental Health Association. They were able to actually make contact with this person's family. I'm going to start crying now. I mean, so this family lost contact with this person, and through their work, they were able to make contact with them and reconnect them with the family, and get them off the street.
In most of these cases, does the bus driver refer or bring in or call the mental health of
Sometimes, a lot of times it's Andrew just out there roaming around. It could be the bus operator contacts supervisor. Supervisor gets a hold of Andrea, and she goes to where they're needed.
Okay.
Yep.
Chairman, if I can just kind of add a little bit more to the story. So Jimmy Friend and our mental health association worker, they identified that this person was clearly struggling, right? And so with the winter weather coming, they continue to make contact with this person to try to get them the assistance. They were able to, like Eugene said, we're able to make contact with the family, but I think one of the big takeaways here was as the winter weather was approaching, it was when we were down into the single digits. This person was starting to experience frostbite, and they were able to get this person to the hospital. When they originally got there, we were worried that they were going to lose limbs, but thankfully to Jimmy and the mental health association worker, they were able to get to the hospital in time to be able to save the limbs. So it was just another example of just the heart and the soul that we put into what we do every single day.
Yep.
It's not just about transit; it's about the community, and it's just another example of the little things that we do behind the scenes to be able to support the community.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion now to receive our program reports? It's been moved and seconded. Please vote electronically. Motion passes. Okay, items from the trustees. Robert. Meg.
I do.
Jesse,
I
do you
do, of
have
course. I was a little jealous that there were so many presentations and I didn't get to do one today. So I actually do have a couple of slides I wanted to share. As those are getting pulled up, I wanted to give a little bit of information. So we talked about the parade, right? And so we provided park and ride locations, working with the Thunder and working with different departments from within the city. We identified 3 locations to be able to provide park and ride. So those 3 locations being the OKC's Fairgrounds, the Remington Park, and the state capitol, right? And so we identified that there was probably about 9,000 parking spaces available to be able to provide park and ride. We filled all 3 locations. Our preliminary numbers for our ridership, I'm sure Armando will share at a certain point in one of his presentations. We carried nearly 10,000 folks in those park and rides. And we did that from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., right? And if you think about it, our daily ridership is about 10,000. And so we essentially doubled our ridership within a few hours. So it's just fantastic work from everybody that was involved. It literally took everybody to be able to do it, whether that be, operations, admin, customer service, parking was involved. We actually worked with Captain George to identify certain streets that we could essentially close down and have a little bit of a dedicated bus lane to be able to get through traffic a little bit quicker. There was some things that were unexpected, but we were able to navigate those thanks to the help of really everybody involved. So again, carrying about 10,000 people, doubling our ridership in 4 days, and being able to pivot. And like Eugene had pointed out, we were able to kick off the idea of a remote transit center. So what does that mean? That means, so in the past, whenever things like the Memorial Marathon or anything like that would kind of shut down the downtown core, we would have to shut down the transit center and essentially really have to reduce our everyday service. So now that we've piloted that and we've learned from that, we know how to do that better. Moving forward, anytime an event like that happens, we have a fallback resource to be able to have a transit center available for folks to be able to still make those connections. So it was, yes, it was fantastic about the parade, but it was also huge for us as an agency to be able to kick that off and be successful. So really proud of everybody that made that happen. I did want to provide a quick update as far as river service. So get everybody oriented real quick. So we operate several landings along the Oklahoma River, working from left to right. So we have our Meridian landing, clearly near Meridian and 15th. And then working east, we've got our Stockyard landing, our Exchange landing, our Bricktown Regatta landing, and then the future FAM landing there. That's the one in orange. But along the Oklahoma River, there are 3 dams that we actually 2 that we navigate through, but there are 3 dams along the Oklahoma River there. The May Avenue Dam and the Brum Dam are the ones that we operate through. There are locks, right? So we use those to navigate the river. If we go to the next slide, thank you, Misty. We're in the process of rehabbing the Brum Dam, but I have that backwards, don't I? So we're in the process of rehabbing the May Dam. In that process, the Brum Dam had some damage to some of the locks, and so both of the dams that we navigate through are in the process of being rehabbed. So what does that mean for our service? If we go to the next slide, that's the extent of the river that is not accessible to us because of the 2 dams that are being worked on. So you've got the river there that's in red. We do not have access to that. The river that's in blue, you have to excuse my my graphics there, but the river that is in blue, that is the river that we have access to. So it's pretty minimal in the grand scheme of things as far as the service that we're able to provide. So if you look at your board report, it actually spells out that we are providing 0 transit trips, and that's because a transit trip is from one landing to another. So we're not technically providing transit, but what we are providing is we're still providing our charters, our specialty cruises, and things like that. For the month of June, we provided nearly 900 of those different types of cruises. So we're still providing a service. It's just not necessarily a transit service. The Brum Dam was unexpected. The May Dam was expected. We're anticipating that this is likely going to extend into the remainder of our service schedule. Hopefully that we'll be able to get those repairs finished before next year's service. With the launch of the FAM landing, we'll be able to provide transit trips between those 2 landings. But it's really impacted our level of service, but we are working very closely with Public Works to help navigate that and help get those things going. We're providing public information on our website, through social media. And just real quick, a shout out to Mark and Marilyn and Mark's staff to be able to still be able to provide those specialty charters and cruises and still be able to provide a service to our customers. Again, nearly 900 of those types of things. That's just just shows the extent of what Mark and his crew can do and still make it an enjoyable service. And we still continue to get folks booking those services. So, long-winded explanation to be able to mention that we are not being able to provide full transit service on the Oklahoma River.
Are all 3 of our boats in the lower basin?
Yeah, so great point. So all 3 of our boats are stored at the near the regatta at Bricktown Landing. So every night, that's where we store them, and we have security services that go by and check on them periodically throughout the evening to make sure that nobody's doing anything with those boats.
And we're far away from our maintenance facility.
We are, yeah. So we don't have access back to Exchange to be able to get them back to the Exchange Landing.
Well, I hope they get it fixed soon.
Me too, yep. All right.
And I hope
That's
we
all
get
I have.
FAM Landing open soon.
Yeah, it's going to be great, yep.
That's great. Okay.
All right.
Is that
thank
all you have?
That's all I had, yep.
Okay, if that's it, then we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming. See you next week, next month.